She goes by the name of WonderHussy, and I happened to just stumble across her while, I'm doing the logs and all my menial work around here after we get done on the air. And she's just a wealth of knowledge of things that you could go see around Las Vegas, in Las Vegas, and she's a former model.
Really?
Yeah.
WonderHussy, you were a model?
Yep, that's how I got a name like WonderHussy. You don't earn that lightly.
Well, you're very interesting.
She has a very interesting story. You grew up pretty much, you were in Germany because your father was in the Army, and then you grew up in the Bay Area around Northern California. What age did you decide that you were just going to get up, pack up, and leave and head to Las Vegas?
Man, the first chance I got, I was so bored in the Bay Area, I thought, well, Vegas would be an interesting place to live. And, well, at that time, my dream was to be a cocktail waitress at Caesar's Palace and drive a big pink car. So I bought a 1986 Lincoln Town Car, and I had it painted Pepto-Bismol pink. And the very next day, I set sail for Vegas, and I lived there for 21 years. I never did work as a cocktail waitress, though. I ended up being a model instead.
Yeah, what kind of modeling did you do?
Well, I was a nude model, an artistic nude model. So I would take photographers out to the desert and pose in, the Red Rock areas, beautiful natural scenery. And that was fun. I did that for about 10 years. But then I started to get too old for modeling. I didn't want to be that old model, you know what I mean? And I also found that I was getting bored, and I enjoyed the exploring the outdoors and looking, I was always looking for new places to pose. Well, I enjoyed the looking for new places more than I did the posing. So I transitioned into making videos about all these weird places that I was finding and started putting them up on YouTube.
Now, this last video that you did, you were out on the outskirts of the Nevada test site looking for a waterfall.
That's right. There's this mysterious waterfall, and I won't say the name of it because I tread a fine line. A lot of people bag on me and go, you're ruining all these places by telling everyone about them. So I'll just say this. There is a waterfall, and it is within the boundaries of the Nevada Test and Training Range. But there's a public easement, so you're allowed to drive in there, and it's cool, man. It's like the most barren, arid desert. You would never expect there to be a waterfall. And then there it was.
So is the water warm that's in the waterfall? I mean, is it coming out of the ground?
Well, no, it wasn't radioactive, if that's what you're asking. It was just a nice, cool, refreshing waterfall. I mean, who knows? Maybe I will grow another leg, but it was nice to put my feet in. It felt cool and refreshing on a hot day.
Her teeth have never been whiter.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Whoopsie.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I find your videos are really interesting. Now, I want to know something. Did you go down into the pipes and so forth where the homeless go? Because there's a whole community there.
I know. I haven't gone down in there because I feel like it might be kind of exploitative, to go down there. These people are going through hard times. They're not living there because it's fun, okay? And for me to go down there with my camera like, hey, what are y'all doing down here? It just seems kind of rude. I have addressed the issue. I've shot footage of the openings to those tunnels and talked about it because I think it's really interesting. But I haven't gone down in them yet. Who knows? If anyone listening to this interview now lives in the tunnels and actually wants to talk about it and show me around, get a hold of me, man. Email me, wonderhussy@gmail.com. I'd love to see.
Wonderhussy@gmail.com? Okay.
That's right.
You've had that for a while.
Now, you just don't go out to
now, supplies are limited.
You just don't go out to the middle of nowhere deserts or to the ghost towns. I know you go to a lot of different ghost towns that are out there towards northern Nevada. But you've also done stuff just about Vegas. Your Industrial Road video that you've done. Why do you think that has garnered so many views on YouTube? It's Industrial Road. We all know Industrial Road. It sucks.
Yeah, we don't go there.
Sure, right? Well, people who live in town go, Industrial Road, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was very interesting because of its history. Now, if you look at the Las Vegas Strip, all the beautiful, shiny, fancy hotels, well, all the stuff that goes on there, the naughty adult stuff, which we all know happens on the Strip, even though it supposedly doesn't.
But it stays here. It stays here,
but it all starts on Industrial Road. That's where a lot of these adult businesses are based. And I just thought it was an interesting kind of a shadowy twin of the Strip. So I thought, well, I needed to shoot a video one day, and I didn't feel like driving 500 miles to a ghost town. I thought, well, let me just, I'll drive downtown and take a walk. And so I just walked the length of Industrial Road and talked about all the different businesses along the way. And there's just a lot of interesting stuff on that road, man. It's a very interesting neighborhood. And apparently people agree.
How many views have you had on that?
That one got, it's up at like 1.5 million. It's definitely one of my most watched videos. People like to know about what's really going on in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they know that what you see in all these glossy marketing brochures isn't the whole story. You guys know, right?
I want you to.
Oh, no.
I got to go to church right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when we come back, we're going to leave for just a little bit. When we come back, we want to know about the places you think, maybe the top 3 places are the most interesting that you didn't know were interesting before, but they're very interesting to you now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Think about that.
Gentry and Dawes on KOOL 102.
So this morning we're talking to Wonderhussy because Wonderhussy is an interesting person, and Jeremy and I were talking about, we need somebody who can talk about places you can go that aren't too far away.
Gas prices are out of control nowadays. They are just completely out of control. Maybe you don't want to drive 3 states over to go visit Aunt Lulu or whatever, but you want to still get away from the house, go do something fun. So, I stumble across Wonderhussy on YouTube. And she's just a wealth of knowledge of day trips you could take, or maybe an overnight camping trip, something close by, yet far enough away that you get out of Dodge.
But there's so many interesting things that she knows about that we've never heard of. And in Wonderhussy, we were talking about, during the break, we were talking about Walker Lake. And
Walker Lake's fascinating.
It's evil.
But I always look at it as a long drive around a lake when I'm on my way to Reno.
Well, so for those people listening who don't know where Walker Lake is, it's about 3-4 hours north of Vegas. So it's a hike to get there, but Hawthorne, Nevada is a really interesting town, okay? It's a Army munitions depot. They store tons of munitions up there. So as you're driving into town, you go driving through this barren desert, and you notice all these weird little lumpy kind of bunker-looking things all over the hillside. Well, they're all stuffed full of munitions. And then there's this giant lake that they test out underwater munitions in. Okay, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on in that town. And there's a cool ordnance museum if you're into, old bombs and tanks and weaponry. They got a real cool museum in town. It's the most patriotic city in the USA. That's what they bill themselves as. So there's red, white, and blue everywhere. There's a casino, there's a tavern, there's places to eat. That's a really interesting place for a day trip.
How many people
that could be an overnighter.
How many people live there?
6.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's an Army base up there, so there's a decent number of people on the base. I don't know. I'd say at least several thousand.
Yeah, I just got my orders. I'm going to Walker
Lake. There's a McDonald's. I mean, if there's a McDonald's, there's got to be enough people to support it.
No, but I heard there was a really great hamburger joint up there. They make it fresh and...
Oh, yeah, on the way before you get to Hawthorne, now you're driving up. If anyone listening has ever driven to Reno from Vegas, you know how it is. You're in the car, and nothing on either side of the road. It's so boring. You pass through these little tiny, kind of like ghost towns, but there's still people living there. Well, there's a town called Mina, M-I-N-A, right on 95. Go right through it, and there's a little burger stand at the side of the road called Socorro's. I think it's still called Socorro's. And this little lady named Socorro, she just retired, but she used to cook everything fresh. Burgers, fries, shakes, real ice cream shakes. It's awesome road food, and I'm sure whoever's running it now does just as good. And it's totally worth a stop.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you don't see those anymore. You used to see them all the time in the 50s, but you don't see them anymore.
Absolutely. Well, you do if you just venture outside the city limits.
All right. What else is... You said that Hawthorne was a really interesting place. You think it's one of more...
Hawthorne is quirky.
What did you learn about Walker Lake? You said something about submarines and...
Yeah. Well, this is just what...
Let's hear the hearsay.
Okay?
We like hearsay.
This is just rumor.
This is local gossip as told to me by the desk clerk at a motel I stayed in up there once. Now, he said Walker Lake is so deep, they've never mapped the bottom of it. And because it's so deep, the U.S. government uses it to test out USOs, not UFOs, which is unidentified flying objects. These are unidentified submerged objects. They're all kind of weird space submarines or something like that. Well, when they're done developing them, testing them, whatever they do with them, there's a secret tunnel at the bottom of Walker Lake that they send it down, and it comes out in Malibu, California. How about that, on the Pacific Ocean?
That was probably written by a surfer.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I think it's real.
You think so?
I'm
Hey,
all for it.
I'm just telling you what I was told by the desk clerk at the Sand and Sage Motel in Hawthorne, okay?
Yeah,
You can go up there and investigate it. Go check it out. Just don't go to Walker Lake at a certain time of year because, gosh, I think it's like late summer. There's some kind of spider that hatches up there. So if you pull up to Walker Lake, there'll be thousands and thousands and thousands of spiders and spider webs just all over the shore.
Oh, that sounds like a bad movie.
Let's say we got a family. Let's say we got
the whole town kind of looks like a bad movie. I mean, you have to see it to believe it. Go check it out. Have you seen The Hills Have Eyes? I mean, that's the kind of place
That's exactly what it is. Let's say we got a family in Las Vegas right now. They're looking to go do something fun, maybe for a day. They just want to get out of the house. What does Wonder Hussy recommend?
Well, to be honest, I just went out to Lake Mead for the day because I was curious. Everyone's talking about how Lake Mead's being drained dry. All these dead bodies are popping up. So I thought, well, let me go check. Lake Mead is actually still really cool and really interesting. And as far as stuff coming back up from under the lake, there's a ghost town up on the northern Overton arm of the lake called St. Thomas.
Yeah.
It was a little Mormon farming town back in the 1800s. Well, when they dammed the river in the first place to create the lake, that town got flooded out. So they had to buy all the residents out, blah, blah. So the town got flooded. It was underwater for many years. Well, the lake started drying up, and now the foundations of the town are back up again, and it's really interesting. You can hike out to it. It's an easy hike.
Yeah.
And walk among these old ruins and foundations of this lost city. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You what'd you do? Park at the old Overton Launch?
You can't access the old Overton Launch anymore. That's gated off. But there's a trailhead. It's marked very clearly on the map, St. Thomas, and it's an easy little dirt road down there. You park and you walk. Easy, not even a hike, easy walk, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's the early beginnings of Las Vegas because they traveled through that area to get to Los Angeles.
Yeah, they sure did. We were a natural watering hole.
And out in Overton and Logandale, they used to grow melons, and they would take those to market, and they would go, from St. Thomas.
I'm going to market.
Yeah.
Just going to Overton is a cool day trip. I mean, that's still like a stepping back in time. Little town, lots of farming. It looks like you're in Iowa, and you're only an hour outside Vegas. And I noticed that Chris Angel just opened a burger stand there in Overton.
You know what? I was hoping you'd mention that because that is a really good burger stand.
Have you been to it?
Yeah. I spend a lot of time in Overton.
Do you ever get the burger, or does it keep disappearing?
Oh, there's the ice cream and everything they have out there in this place is great.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to go check it out.
Man,
check out the ice cream.
This just became all about burgers, this whole interview.
You must be hungry.
There's plenty of good food in Nevada, man. My thing is people bag on Nevada. They go, oh, it's a wasteland. There's nothing between Vegas and Reno. But there's plenty of really cool and interesting stuff out there if you just take the time to go, explore.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we sure thank you for being with us this morning. I hope you'll come back and check with us from time to time. Tell us about new things you've discovered. But you're a fun person to talk to, and certainly you have an interest in things, which is something you don't find much anymore. People go by Hawthorne.
I have an interest and a great love for the state of Nevada, so you can have me on anytime. I'm happy to talk about it.
All right. Wonder Hussy. She's been with Gentry and Dawes this morning.
Make sure to check out her YouTube channel. All you got to do in the search is type in Wonder Hussy, and if you want to get a hold of her, it's wonderhussy@gmail.com.
Wonderhussy@gmail.com. Thanks for being here, Wonder Hussy.
Thanks for having me.